The series takes place in the year 2418, when the globe has evolved into an ultra-futuristic environment. Humans can now travel to other worlds via space travel, and the entire galaxy can be explored. There are low-gravity worlds like Earth and high-gravity planets like Selaeon throughout the galaxy. Humans must wear safety gear when traveling to high-gravity planets. Selaeon has 10 times the gravity of Earth, and even a spaceship must activate a gravity field to keep the passengers safe. Moving out of this protection causes them to fall to the ground instantly as their weight increases by tenfold. Any item thrown to this planet will be instantaneously flattened and crushed. Furthermore, if a person's protective suit is damaged, all of their body parts are annihilated. Species born on a high-gravity planet, on the other hand, have high-density bones and muscles, making them stronger than species born on other worlds. The Selaeons are known as one of the strongest beings in the cosmos due to their home planet's very high gravity. Alara Kitten is one such powerful Selaeon. With her bare hands, she can break down doors and walls, crush solid blocks of titanium, and reconfigure them into spheres. She works as a security officer on the USS Orville, an exploring starship. Orville is entrusted with keeping the planets in order and repelling any threats from neighboring galaxies if necessary. The Orville is run by various other people, the majority of whom are humans and some of whom are aliens. Its commander, Captain Mercer, is a human who is recognized for getting things done in some fashion. The series then moves on to Sargas 4, where two persons are being interrogated. They appear to have committed a crime, and the interviewer keeps asking them if they are sorry. Everyone is sporting an odd emblem with an upvote and downvote option. Soon after, the public begins voting on whether the two culprits should be punished, and the live vote tally is broadcast on television. The convicts are later brought to the punishment room, but when one of them tries to flee, the cops shoot him. The second culprit is then seated on a chair and a gadget is placed on his head. When the number of downvotes reaches 10 million, he is electrocuted and the scene shifts. A few days later, the Orville arrives on Sargas 4 in quest of two of their lost researchers. The peculiar thing about the planet is that its civilization is nearly identical to that of Earth in the 21st century. Before beginning the mission, Captain Mercer informs his team that the two researchers were dispatched to Sargas 4 to examine the location, but they have been contactless for 1 month. He then assigns a team of 4 to Sargas 4. Commander Kelly, Dr. Claire, Lieutenant Lamar, and Lieutenant Alar. Alar wears a traditional Sargas cap and covers her nose with a band-aid before going because she is unique and has odd patterns on her face. When the 4 arrive on the planet, they observe how similar it looks to Earth in the 21st century. Surprisingly, many wear their badges as if it were a daily part of their lives. For example, a man acknowledges his friend's weight loss and receives an upvote, whilst another man spills his coffee on a stranger and receives a downvote. To summarize, the Sargas 4 is a truly democratic government in which the general populace chooses everything, including a person's fate. The Orville gang, on the other hand, pays no heed to it and continues on with their objective. They eventually come across a bookstall and inquire about the researchers. Instead, the owner provides them 4 badges and informs them that walking without one is a crime. While the 4 are going around the streets, Lieutenant Lamar attempts to have some fun by dancing with a local statue. Commander Kelly orders him to stop, but Lamar, being Lamar, continues to perform his strange antics. Just then, several people around them begin filming the dance, and Lamar finally comes down from the statue. Soon after, the gang arrives at a cafe and notices a woman getting turned away due to her high downvotes. People with a big amount of downvotes appear to be ostracized by society in this universe. Meanwhile, the group approaches Lysella, a cafe employee, and shows her the picture of the 2 missing researchers. Surprisingly, they are told that the 2 are popular people since they were recently fixed. But before they can investigate any further, the downvotes on Lamar's badge begin to increase at an exponential rate. The group is bewildered as to what is going on, and suddenly a TV program shows footage of Lamar dancing with the statue. Surprisingly, the reporter observes Lamar's humping of the statue, which turns out to be a deity on that planet. Confused, the gang decides to return to their world, but when they go outside, a big crowd surrounds them. Lamar tries to prove his innocence, but a swarm of cops arrives and arrests him. He is then taken to prison, where he is approached by Willix, a publicity officer by profession. In this planet, PR officers are the equivalent of lawyers, but their jobs are vastly different. Wilix attempts to get Lamar's side of the tale, but the latter responds that he was simply dancing. He also pretends to be oblivious of all the rules in the world, causing Wilix to tell him everything. He explains that everything in Sargas 4 is democratically governed. Therefore, if a person commits a crime, the people will decide his or her fate through a vote mechanism. The individual receives 10 million downvotes. They will be corrected. A correction is a method that involves electrocuting a criminal until all of his memories are erased. When Lamar hears this, he becomes afraid and asks Wilix to assist him, but the latter informs him that there is a legal process in place. Lamar will have to go through a series of interviews, which will be shown live on television, and if the audience appreciates his apologies, they may vote for him to be saved. As a result, their greatest chance of avoiding the correction is to prepare a flawless apology speech. Later, the Orville group pays a visit to Lamar in the waiting area and learns about the correction that he will experience. Hearing the word correction, Alara recalls that the cafe employee, Lysella, also indicated that their two friends had been corrected, which is why they are so famous in this world. As a result, Alara and Dr. Claire go to question Lysella, while Commander Kelly stays behind with Lamar. In the following scene, Lamar is getting ready for his first apology interview, as Wilix and Claire try to push him. However, the session goes horribly wrong when Lamar makes a mockery of himself. Soon after, the voting system is activated, and Lamar receives a whopping 4 million negative votes. Elsewhere, Lieutenant Alara and Dr. Claire approach Lysella and begin questioning her about their missing colleagues. Lysella mentions that one was corrected and sent to a facility, while the other was shot and killed while attempting to flee. Lysella approaches Alara and Claire in the bathroom a while later and notices Alara's uncovered face. She tries to flee, but the Orville couple calms her down and takes her out for a drink. There, Alara and Claire finally reveal that they are aliens who have come to retrieve their friends. Lysella soon begins to relax, and she informs them that the researchers were apprehended for refusing to give up their seats to a pregnant woman. Following this, the three proceed to the correctional facility, where they eventually locate one of the researchers who was corrected. He appears to be calm and has no memory of what he did. Dr. Claire rushes him back to the Orville after seeing his terrible condition. On the other hand, Lamar attends his second apology interview, but things go wrong once again when he forcefully high-fives the audience. This time, the number of downvotes exceeds 9.3 million. Everyone at the Orville is worried about Lamar because time is running out. Captain Mercer then devises a strategy. He realizes that they require an insider to defeat Sargas 4's voting system. As a result, he makes the difficult decision to bring Lysella to their base. She is taken aback by the Orville's facilities and employees after being brought there. Captain Mercer convenes a meeting and asks Lysella if there is any way to change the public's perception of Lamar. After some thought, the girl responds that they might have a chance if people learn about Lamar's positive qualities. When Isaac, an Orville scientist, hears this, he devises a plan to hack into the voting database, and Mercer warns him. Lamar is taken to the correction room, where a live vote count is shown. The entire population will have 10 minutes to vote, and if it reaches 10 million at the end, Lamar will be corrected. As expected, he has the worst possible start. Stella mentions at the Orville that the people on Sargas 4 sympathize with criminals who look after their grandmothers, have a military record, and love their dogs. When Isaac hears this, he employs his alpha tech skills to hack into the voting database. He then makes up positive facts about Lamar and spams them into the system. Surprisingly, the strategy works, and several people begin to upvote Lamar. As a result, the votes are evenly divided, and Lamar is saved. A few weeks later, the group decides to investigate another planet that resembles medieval Earth. Commander Kelly, Isaac, and Lieutenant Malloy are tasked with a mission this time, because the planet is populated by very medieval people. The group is strictly forbidden from interacting with any other people for fear of cultural contamination. When the shuttle arrives on the planet, they notice that it looks exactly like Earth, but it is several millennia in the past. Commander Kelly goes first, and as she looks through her binoculars, she notices a village nearby. After a while, as she is inspecting the area, two little girls notice her. They flee, freaked out by her appearance, but one of them trips and falls, causing her head to bleed. Although Kelly is under strict orders not to come into contact with anyone on the planet, Her maternal instincts cannot simply let the girl bleed out. As a result, she approaches the young girl and introduces herself. She then pulls out one of her futuristic devices and uses it to treat the girl's wound. When Kelly turns around, she notices that several medieval people have noticed her, prompting her to flee the scene. When the entire crew returns to the base to wrap up their investigation, the mysterious planet vanishes in the blink of an eye. Everyone is stunned, but Isaac, the smartest guy in the Orville, proposes a theory. He mentions the planet being in a multiphasic orbit. Such orbits are extremely rare because half of them exist in one universe and the other in another. This is why the planet vanished so suddenly. It has been teleported to another universe where it can complete its orbit. Finally, Isaac concludes that the planet should return to this universe in exactly 11 days based on the geometry and mass of the orbit. When Captain Mercer and the group hear this, they decide to wait for the planet to return. In the following scene, Isaac's assumption is confirmed when, after 11 days of waiting, the planet returns. However, he detects something strange. Further investigation reveals that, despite the planet's return after 11 years, it has become significantly populated and advanced, resembling 14th century Earth. This astounds everyone in the room, and Isaac simplifies the phenomenon in a straightforward manner. 11 days for the Orville, but 700 years for the planet. This means it's been 700 years since Commander Kelly and her team visited the planet. Astonished by the discovery, the team returns to the planet, and this time, Captain Mercer has also joined them. At first, they decide to get some clothes and blend in with the crowd. As a result, they approach a nearby hut and attempt to steal some clothes. But just then, a lady appears with her child. Kelly is confronted by her and begs her to bless her child. Kelly reluctantly agrees despite her confusion. As a result of the incident, the group realizes that something very bad has occurred. They later come across some corpses hanging on a pole as they put on their new clothes and continue their journey. When Captain Mercer inquires about it, a man reveals that they were hanged for spreading blasphemy about their god Kelly. Not only that, but the group discovers that the entire village worships Kelly and that criminals are executed in her honor. When his mother mentions that Kelly is watching him, even a small child is compelled to study. Stunned, the group arrives at a religious temple, where they discover an enormous statue of their god, Kelly. This is when they realize Kelly's 700-year-ago encounter with the people changed everything. Kelly was rumored to be a god because she appeared modern and healed the girl with her device. As a result, they began to worship her, and even after 7 centuries, they still consider her to be their savior. This is a major issue for the group because they have broken a major Orville rule. As a result, they attempt to resolve the issue before it reaches higher authorities. Kelly decides to confront the head of state, Volantis, and reveal that she is mortal after some thought. Soon after, she arrives at a large mansion, and when the guards and Volantis recognize her, they immediately drop to their knees in respect. Kelly tells them to get up and begins to explain that she is not a god. No one believes her, so Kelly cuts her own palm and draws some blood. She then uses the same device to heal her wound. Volantis is perplexed by her healing ability, but Kelly claims that anyone can do it with the device's assistance. She then suggests Volantis do the same, and when he cuts his palm and uses the device, it works. This, along with the fact that Kelly bleeds like any other being, finally convinces Volantis that she is not a god. He then promises to spread the word to his people, claiming that they, too, deserve to know the truth. Volantis prepares his men to spread the news around the world after Kelly and the group leave. However, one of his greedy assistants, who believes Kelly is necessary to maintain control over the people, stabs him in the back and kills him. Following this, the scene jumps ahead 11 days, where the group is seen waiting for the planet to reappear. Soon after, Isaac detects movement, and the planet, which has now transformed into 21st century Earth, appears. Without further ado, he conducts some tests and discovers that the people continue to worship Kelly. However, she has become controversial because terrorists are killing thousands of people in her name. The group is devastated to discover that their plan failed. Kelly comes up with an idea just as they appear to be in trouble. She proposes that she travel to the planet and spend her entire life there to demonstrate that she is not a god. Captain Mercer, on the other hand, immediately forbids her, stating that it is too dangerous. Just then, Isaac steps forward and declares that he will do it. People will believe him because he is a robot and knows a lot about science. Furthermore, he will live for the next 700 years because he only has 700 seconds. Although Captain Mercer and his group are still skeptical, but they decide to let him go because it is the only way to repair the damage. The scene then jumps forward 11 days, where the planet reappears. This time, it has evolved into a highly futuristic world filled with massive cities. Meanwhile, a spaceship approaches the Orville and requests permission to enter. Captain Mercer agrees, and two futuristic-looking aliens, along with Isaac, enter. At first, the two thank Captain Mercer and the group for sending Isaac, as he was one of the driving forces behind their planet's development. When Kelly asks if she is still worshipped, the aliens say they stopped doing so a long time ago. People are grateful, however, that Kelly and the other aliens visited their planet because it gave them the motivation and willpower to make their planet similar. The episode concludes with the aliens returning to their planet, while the Orville continues its exploration.